what happens when families split and shared parenting becomes an issue. Don Hubin is chair of the National Board of the National Parents Organization and board member of the International Council for Equal Shared Parenting. Mr. Hubin, welcome.
Thank you. I was going to start off with some comments about me. Rebecca's already introduced me, so I will skip over this. Perhaps relevant to today's conversation, I'm also the father of 3, the stepfather of 2, and the grandfather of now 6 grandchildren. Just a word or two about National Parents Organization. Our mission is to improve the lives of children and strengthen society by ensuring that every child has a right to the love and care of both parents when the parents separate. We are the nation's largest and most effective shared parenting organization. We have chapters in 37 states, and we work with other organizations in other states as well to advance the shared parenting mission. I describe National Parents Organization as being child-focused and research-based, and what I mean by that is that we ground our advocacy for shared parenting in the best scientific research on child well-being. I want to start by talking about what has recently been labeled the 2-parent privilege. And I don't mean for anything I say to denigrate the work of those parents who are, those single parents who are working hard to raise their children, but it is just a fact that children raised with the active involvement of both parents are less likely to fail in school, less likely to use illegal drugs, less likely to commit crimes, become involved with gangs, to experience sexual assault, to engage in early sexual activity, to become pregnant at an early age, or to die by suicide. There are lots of reasons why children may be deprived of the 2-parent privilege, including the death of a parent, accidents, so forth. But often it's a sort of societal self-inflicted wound by outdated policies for how we handle the parenting of children when parents are living apart. While National Parents Organization is focused on the U.S., this is not a problem restricted to the United States. It is a global problem. The International Council on Shared Parenting, which, as Rebecca said, I serve on the board of, has representatives from 29 states, 29 countries. And what we find is that in countries with very different histories and cultures and legal systems, there's a similar problem of one parent being sidelined when the parents separate. The solution to this is to make shared parenting the norm when parents are living apart. That's the way to get children to benefit from this 2-parent privilege. And that's one of the goals of National Parents Organization in the U.S. and of the International Council on Shared Parenting around the world. So what is shared parenting? Shared parenting involves 2 elements, both legal custody, which has to do with the decision-making responsibility with respect to the children, and physical custody, which has to do with the placement of the children. Shared parenting is a situation where both parents have legal custody and they share in the physical custody. We at NPO and at the International Council of Shared Parenting often talk about equal shared parenting, where the parenting time is divided equally between the 2 parents. Shared parenting matters because shared parenting is a win-win-win arrangement. And I mean by that, it's better for fathers, it's better for mothers, and most importantly, it's better for children. Let me start with the fathers. Being marginalized or sometimes completely erased from their children's lives is detrimental to the health and well-being of fathers. 85% of fathers say that being a parent is the most or one of the most important aspects of who they are as a person, according to the Pew Research Foundation. As 2 researchers put it, a man's life as a father is central, not peripheral to his health. Being sidelined in your children's life has a variety of ill effects on fathers' health, but perhaps most dramatically, divorced fathers are 10 times as likely to commit suicide as divorced mothers, and perhaps not coincidentally, they're 10 times less likely to get custody of their children. What about the benefits for mom? Well, the flip side of being a sidelined dad is being the overburdened mom. So shared parenting allows mothers to advance their education, to advance their careers, to decompress because child rearing is rewarding, but it can also be challenging, and to develop a personal life. And one researcher in the US found that moms who were practicing equal shared parenting were much more likely to earn more than $100,000 a year than moms who had major custody, and even more so than moms who had sole custody of their children. And they were also much more likely to say that they feel awesome and proud about being a mom. Now, I said it was beneficial for children. We have more than 40 years of research now, which speaks as univocally as research ever does, that in the vast majority of cases, it's to the benefit of children to have both parents equally involved. And it's important to underscore that this is true regardless of the parental income or educational levels of the parents. This is not a phenomenon that's a result of parents who choose to do shared parenting being parents who have higher education and higher incomes. It's a benefit to children regardless of the parental income and educational levels. It's also beneficial to children even when the parents don't initially both agree to shared parenting, which is an important point because sometimes courts say if they can't agree to shared parenting, they can't work under a shared parenting plan. That is false. It's also beneficial to children when there is nonviolent conflict between the parents. And it's beneficial even for infants and toddlers. And the closer the split is to 50-50, the better it is for children. So let me start with the closer to 50-50 being beneficial to children. Sometimes people say, well, it's not the quantity of parenting time that matters, it's the quality that matters. And of course, the quality of parenting time is vital, but the quantity matters as well. Children who enjoy equal time with both parents have secure attachments to both parents, which leads to a better outcome for the children. Sometimes people say, shared parenting is great, but there shouldn't be any legal presumption because every case is different. Let the courts do whatever they think is in the best interest of the children. But children benefit not just from the practice of shared parenting, but from there being a legal presumption of shared parenting. As researcher William Fabricius puts it, the evidence that's now available is compelling that failure to enact presumptions of equal shared parenting risk unnecessary harms to children's emotional security with their parents and consequently unnecessary harm to public health in the form of long-term stress-related mental and physical health problems among children of divorce. Now, some have raised concerns about presumptions of shared parenting, worrying that they might increase the incidence of family violence, both intimate partner violence and child maltreatment. Fortunately, the evidence shows exactly the opposite. Kentucky passed its presumption of equal shared parenting as a result of the efforts of my colleague Matt Hale at NPO back in 2017 for temporary orders and for permanent orders in 2018. Data from the Kentucky Administrative Office of the Courts show that the incidence of civil domestic and family cases cross-referenced with domestic violence cases dropped by half between 2017 and 2022, from 973 to 454. And here's a graphic representation of those data. There is 2017, where we had 973 incidences, and in 2022, it had dropped to less than half of that. Spain provides us with the best evidence about the effects of presumptions of shared parenting on intimate partner violence. Spain presents something very rare in social sciences. It presents a natural experiment. Around 2010, 5 juridical regions in Spain adopted legal reforms that increased shared physical custody by fourfold in just 5 years. What the researchers found looking at this was the policy significantly decreased domestic violence. Survey data indicates that intimate partner violence falls by almost 50% after the policy change. And there was also evidence of a significant reduction in the number of female homicides committed by intimate partners at this time. And this is the researchers' graphic representation of those data. The blue line represents those regions of Spain where they adopted presumptions of shared physical custody. The red line where they did not. What about child maltreatment? Well, I mentioned that Kentucky instituted its presumptions of equal shared parenting during temporary orders in 2017 and for final orders in 2018. The neighboring state of Ohio, my home state, presents a marked contrast with Kentucky. During that period, the number of child victims in Ohio dropped by 2.5%. Which you might think is something we're celebrating until you look at what happened in Kentucky. It dropped by almost a third, by 33.2% in Kentucky during that same period. And there's a representation of those data. All those data from HHS. We also have evidence from within Ohio, because as I mentioned, Ohio doesn't have a statewide presumption of equal shared parenting, but state law does require each of the counties to have a local parenting time rule. And so in 2022, NPO did a study of all Ohio's 88 counties, grading them on their local parenting time rule, giving grades in the A range to those counties that had presumptions of equal or almost equal parenting time, and grades in the D range to those counties that had the every other weekend schedules. And then in 2023, we correlated those data with the data about child maltreatment derived from the Department of Health and Human Services by the Annie E. Casey Kids Count project. And here's what we found. There's a very strong correlation between those counties that had presumptions of equal shared parenting and those that didn't. The counties with equal or nearly equal shared parenting rules had consistently lower and decreasing rates of child maltreatment. The child maltreatment cases dropped by more than 50% in the equal shared parenting counties. And there's a graphic representation of those data. The red line represents those counties that adopted presumptions of equal parenting time. The blue line is the statewide average, and the green line are those counties that had every other weekend and one evening a week schedule. Now, why do child maltreatment cases drop when there's presumption of shared parenting? Well, we don't really know. More research is necessary. It's pretty obvious why intimate partner violence might drop, because you assure both the parents that they're going to continue to be fully involved with their children, and that reduces the conflict between the parents. We don't know for sure why child maltreatment drops. It could be that by sharing the child rearing responsibilities more equally, neither parent feels overburdened, and that feeling of being overburdened might lead some parents to be violent towards their children. It could also be that having both parents fully engaged means that there's sort of a check, and if there's some minor violence towards the children, it'll be caught more early. It could be that by freeing the courts from handling contentious child custody cases, the courts have more time to focus on child maltreatment cases and stop it from getting serious earlier on. We don't know. More research is necessary. What we do know is that presumptions of equal shared parenting reduce both intimate partner violence and child maltreatment. Of course, courts need to do a good job identifying parents who are violent towards the other parent or towards the children, and they need to protect potential victims in those cases. But for those cases where both parents are safe parents, presumptions of equal shared parenting are beneficial with respect to intimate partner violence and with respect to child maltreatment. So the International Council for Men and Boys is focused on addressing a wide variety of problems that confront men and boys. The way we handle separated parenting is a major cause of problems for men and boys, for fathers and their children. The good news is that solving this problem benefits not only men and boys, but women and girls as well. And with that, I thank you.
Thank you.